Well, just so you know, that may all be at the start of this.
That's fine, I can explain it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Toku Portal podcast for Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger. There's no grand showtime because, there's no Wiseru.
Oh,
I am Vashi V, and joining me today is
right.
the man who forgot there was a podcast.
I was playing Monster Hunter and it was really fun. I was just like, oh man, I don't have to do anything else tonight. It feels so good. I don't even have to go into work tomorrow.
Like, the sad thing is, Discord didn't even say you were playing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't have it set to display what game I'm playing.
Oh, it used to.
Yeah, I used to, but I turned that off. Uh, so, unrelated to the podcast, because I was laughing at the start of this, because a friend of mine, he has one of the Amazon dots for Alexa, but it fell off his nightstand and the light is off. So he was looking for it and he decided, oh, if I just talk to it, it'll light up and I can see it, right? So he
Okay.
says, Alexa, hang in there, stay in the light. And then suddenly, beep, playing Staying Alive by the Bee Gees.
Okay, that's great. Uh,
A song that he actually hates, so it's even funnier.
oh, I like, and that's a point of like, I understand like this has nothing to do really with AI or whatnot. It's like, but it literally took it upon itself to just like decide what he meant by that phrase. Because at no point did that signify that you should play any type of music,
Right?
and it just went, "Oh, okay, you want music? Here you go."
Alright, so welcome to Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger, episode 43. While mourning, Creon finds one of Precious's cards, and, is that Wiseru's heart? Could it be?
I firmly believe it is. Wiseru is not dead. It's the only thing that makes sense because when Gadgelaeus died, his heart kind of melted off the card.
Yeah, there was definitive proof.
Like I was talking with Pixie about this over my lunch break because she watched it while she was out and about. I think this was wise. Like the whole thing of his last episode was Wiseru going, "Fuck it, I'm out." Like that
Fuck
was
this
his.
shit, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm like that was his. I'm done with this shit. Have fun.
Well, that sucks though if he actually bailed and didn't take Creon with him.
Like I think it's. Again, I think it was along the lines of like he knew that Creon could jump. He could like Creon can jump ship to the rear soldiers, and it would be completely understandable and believable. Wiseru, not so much. Like
Right.
if Wiseru had done it, it would have been literally just like the standard stupid ass trope of like the last minute. Oh wait, we're doing what we're doing is bad.
Yeah, Wiseru would have been a lot less believable since he would have just been switching sides out of his own interest in
Self interest, yeah.
survival. Yeah.
Like, and the only disappointing thing in it is I think like if that was the case that this was just his way of going out and realizing Creon was going to jump ship and all that, he didn't wait to make sure Creon did so and left him to Precious. And the Tank Joe ripoff.
And so yeah, Hellas, as it is being subbed by TV Nihon, or Eris, as I've been seeing it everywhere else.
Right, because nobody can ever decide on what the names are.
Um, is the mother of the Druidons and can birth new ones, and Precious, who we now confirm is a guy by him referring to himself as the new thing's older brother. encourages Eris to birth a new Druidon that Precious names Gunjoji. So here's the thing about the Druidons. What do they want?
Literally the closest thing that's ever been things like they want to rule the world.
Why?
No idea. Like there's literally we've been given no motivation by the bad guys whatsoever, other than meh, because I'm bored.
And like, it just now occurred to me that that was a thing that we haven't gotten because up to this point we haven't known anything about Druidon hierarchy. We don't know who they're working for, what their motives are, but now we're getting all these answers except the motive part.
Like
Like,
even with like because the movie got released by TV Nihon, which we'll be covering most likely Thursday. Even there, they're like they go back in time as like to when the Druidons were still on Earth before the meteor and all that. It's like it is still not explained what the fuck they were actually after and why they were doing it. It was just a thing that was happening. And like through all of this, the only two that make sense for why they're doing it is literally Wiseru and Kurion, and because it's fucking fun.
yeah, like, hey, this is what we do as Druidons. Let's do it.
Like other than that, is like we have literally got no reason
Like,
for anything.
like, they jumped ship of the Earth when the meteor crashed, and went and took over like other planets. That is canon because Weiser's introduction was chasing after the leftovers from the planet he was on.
Right. It's like, and then again, we get no further information at all.
And when Precious's introduction is that he brings his complete Minosaur with him. Like, yo, what up? Let's blow up another planet.
It's like basically it's villainy for the sake of villainy,
Like,
which it doesn't do the villains justice in any show when that's the case. If you're a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy, that's bad writing.
the only time it worked was in Tokyuger, where half the bad guys went, wait, why are we the bad guys again? This doesn't make any sense.
To include the big bad.
Yeah, yeah. And he was finally like, you know what? Fuck asking questions. Fuck trying to seek the light. I'm just going to embrace the darkness because that's what I know.
Like, Tokuger is the only series where that legitimately made sense with them basically being villains for the sake of being villains. But even then, it was decently explained that the villains, because that was the reason, the villains got decent character development.
Right, because they started questioning why they're the villains, and it makes them my favorite villains in all of Sentai, because they get character growth.
They're fucking fantastic. Like, they are some of my favorite villains in Sentai. Like, it's part of the reason why I like Tokuger as much as I do. Especially given, like, the issue I had with Tokuger initially was all the finishers. Because I'm like, what the fuck is this stupid ass shit?
It's childish imagination.
Right. It's like, and I got the imagination part, but in my head, I'm like, this is way too fucking childish for anybody at any point. I'm like, and then you get through the whole series, and then spoilers if you haven't seen Tokuger, they're all kids who, because of the power of imagination, ended up on a train and teenagers. But they were still really like 10, like, 8, 9-year-old kids in reality.
Yeah, no, they lose their memories for a while, and as it slowly comes back to them, like, they start to realize, like, how come we're only getting memories up to, like, age 10?
And then, like, it's like and it's a very, very compelling story. It's like, especially like the further you get into it, is like going back and rewatching that show puts a whole new spin on everything you're looking at, and you're sitting going, yeah, this makes sense. I get it now.
Like when they get their money, they're basically their credit cards, and Blue just binges and buys a bunch of tech that he can't afford, and it's like, yeah, okay, he doesn't know how to handle money because he literally has not had money before.
Right. It's like every all the little shit they did makes sense. It ends up making sense. It's like,
And then it's like,
and
oh,
then
how are they gonna pay it back? By doing chores.
yeah. Actually, I didn't even equate that to actual chores.
They were like cleaning the train and such. Like
Right.
they were
Which
just doing
I got
chores.
that. I
Yeah.
just my brain just went. They're just working off their debt.
No, they're doing chores. They're working for their
They're still
allowance.
they're yeah 100%. Yeah, that's great. But like with this is like the only character that we truly have had development on was Creon for villains. I mean, Wizuru got some towards the end once everything started cycling with all that crap with fucking Precious. It's like we have there we have no understanding of basically planning for the villains other than they needed somebody to defeat.
Right. And in this day and age, having villains for the sake of villains is just inexcusable. Fucking Bandora from Jew Ranger had motives for being a villain. That was back in the early 90s.
And her motivation, a dinosaur killed her kid.
Yeah, so she hated the dinosaurs, and then when the dinosaurs were gone, she moved on to the second thing she had the most kids, because they reminded her of the one she lost.
That's the entire motivation for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in reality.
And it's more than we have for the Druidons.
Right. It's like aside from, like I said, aside from Creon and Wizuru there in the last couple of episodes, they literally exist to power skill the Rangers and get defeated. That's literally their existence.
And you have Kishiryu Ryusoulger. Like, what were the villains' motivation there? They were trying to resurrect their god because he wanted to bring about extinction of the dominant species on Earth, which was humans. He was literally just doing a show of power.
It's like in here, like in the closest thing that we had to we're trying to revive the boss was that fucking when Precious mentioned the whole trying to scale them up so they go get the Ryusoulger caliber.
And could this just be a show of power too? Maybe, but we don't know that. Kishiryu actually made it clear that yeah, Daeboth wants to bring about the extinction of the dominant species on Earth. That was the dinosaurs, and now it's the humans.
Like, and they made that clear day one, and continued to reinforce it throughout the entire series. Here it's just like,
the Jordans,
oh yeah, we need a big bad, don't we? Shit.
The Jordans are either trying to take over the world or destroy it, and I still don't know which one they're actually trying to do. I'm getting so many conflict messages.
Right. It's like, because literally at this point, it's like, yeah, it's like, the only thing we know for sure that they're 100% trying to do is to get another complete Minosaur.
Because when Precious brought the one that he did, it destroyed an entire city. And it's like, okay, so the Jordans are trying to, straight up destroy these worlds, but then in this episode, when Precious is ready to make his attack, it's like, this world will belong to us. And it's like, are you saying that in a possessive kind of way? Like you're gonna rule the world? What is your aim?
They're the Saiyans. They're gonna destroy it and sell it for profit. You know, like the villains in fucking Zyuohger.
If they're just a parasitic race that goes around destroying planets, that is fine. I'm down for that. Is that what's happening?
We're what, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. 5 episodes away from the end of this fucking show. And we have no fucking clue. It's funny every time.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, it's like we're 5 episodes away from the end of the show and we have no fucking clue. Like, that's a problem. And I don't want it to be that, oh, here's last episode, the true, hell is fully revived, blah, 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 blah. And she gives the answer. No, fuck that. I won't be happy with that. I just like, I hate that last minute exposition of what's going on.
We're at 7 generals in this fucking show, and none of them have made it clear what they're actually trying to accomplish.
It's like, and honestly, it's like they all kind of seem to be trying to accomplish roughly the same idea, just very different ways.
Which is cool. That's a
aside
cool way
from Waizaru, who literally was just there to have.
Yeah, it's cool to show the difference in their styles and differentiate them as characters. And but the core problem comes down to we don't know
Why?
if the Jordans are trying to rule the world or destroy it and move on. And that seems like a question that should have been clear by now.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that should have been clear at least before the final arc. Like, I'm okay with, the mystery of it. That's fine. You want to keep, ultimate motivations, a mystery and all that. But by the last arc, this is, everything's come together as a story, and this is where you're going.
And you can't even say that, oh, well, they want the Earth because that's where Eris is. It's like, that doesn't work because they were fighting a war on here millions of years ago, and that's when Eris got sealed away.
And then they took the fuck off. I would be okay even if it was just something that's we came back because our forces were getting depleted. So we came back so we can get our monster back, our Finster back. I would be fine with that. But again, it doesn't explain what the other three were fucking doing.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with any answer they give about what the Jordans are trying to accomplish. I just want an answer.
And I just want it before the last episode. Or rather, I want it before the final boss fully shows up. Because we can assume the last boss is Hellas. We can assume, probably wrong. I'll be a little pissed if it's Precious.
No, I think it's going to be Eris. I just hope that it's not the Magirager thing again, where the final boss shows up at the last minute and then gets owned in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Give us a good episode-long fight.
So, moving forward with the episode. New general, just born, so basically a child, Precious, has taken him under his wing to train him, without forcing him to obey by kidnapping his heart, which we find out Precious has done with Wooden and Saden as well.
Which, I have a question. Was that necessary?
Probably not, but it's good to have clarification.
I didn't need it. I would have been fine with if they had never done that. I don't need another semi-sympathetic villain.
Oh, I don't care about him.
Well, I don't either. It's like, but I don't need that clarification that somebody's doing it under duress.
Well, yeah, I didn't really look at it.
It worked for Gadgelas and Waizaru. That worked fine. You literally have Sanen's basically here just to get his ass kicked.
Yes.
We don't need the clarification that yeah, he's doing this under duress.
I mean, it just kind of, for me, it was more speaking about Precious than him, where I was showing that, like, yeah, no,
Precious
Precious
is an
doesn't
asshole.
actually command any respect from these people. He's literally forcing them to obey. Gunjoji is just a blank slate that Precious can probably manipulate without needing to force his hand.
Right. Like which I get that. It's like it was just that one moment where Sanen goes
Yeah, Sudden makes that,
like
like, if only
"E-
face.
yeah, that you're an asshole face. Which I will give them credit. They're even with the suits, they do good
Oh,
jobs
yeah,
of
no.
being able to express when you're like when they're literally looking at somebody going, "You're a dick."
Yeah, no, one of my favorite things about this franchise is suit acting because it is an art form.
Like and that's been a growing thing over the last couple of years with both Sentai and Rider. Like the level of being able to portray emotions and shit through the suits, even just small little like being able to tell that somebody's looking at somebody very, very irritatingly is fantastic over the last couple of years. It's just been getting better.
And it's one of the things that disappointed me about the 2017 Power Rangers movie. Because, like, alright, it's an hour and a half movie. You spend the first hour just staring at the kids' dumb faces, wondering when they're finally gonna transform and become the Power Rangers. And then they finally do that, and you get like
One measly fight.
yeah, you get one measly fight that you can barely tell what's happening because of so many fucking camera cuts. And then they jump into their Zords and the face plates come off, and it's like, no, god damn it,
Right.
no.
Like literally through that entire scene from the moment they jumped in the Zords until the end of the series, end of the movie, the only time that the helmets are on is when the Red Ranger goes to save his dad.
And like, somebody told me, I was complaining about that, and somebody was like, well, maybe it was because the actors could, act. And I'm just like, suit acting is acting. Okay? There's actual, like, shit to this. Being able to convey facial expressions without actually showing your face. Like, if you were going to remove them, I could understand for the scene when they thought they were going to die and Jason and Kimberly, like, reach out to each other. I would have given you that if you wanted to take the plates off for that.
Right. It's like but and this is like where it comes across between like having a big budget company do something versus, the people who made the fucking shit to begin with.
Right.
Because as don't get me wrong, as terrible as the original movie was, it still felt right.
Right, they made the suits fit the actors, and like the actors made it work.
Even the suit actors for that show is like every bit of it is like feels like
It's like
what you would expect.
it's like
They were still able to portray. It's like, and then you have the scene like when they get back in the power, Zordon's still dying and then dies. Is like they took the helmets off for that. It's like, yeah, that's how that should work.
it's like
You don't need to take the helmets off for this shit.
it's like you've got it's all like cheesy and such, but like you have that one shot of like Amy Jo Johnson in the suit, like she hits an enemy and makes turns around and makes a sassy comment, and from her posture and such, you can tell that she's just being sassy. It just complements what she's saying, and it works. So even though the
It's like
face, the mask is the same as she would be if she were angry, you can tell the difference.
and that was the best part of how that movie was made is it was made by the same people who made the show. Overall, is like yeah, they got directors and stuff on board. Is like, but a lot of the crew that helped with everything, aside from the crews that they got, I want to say it was in Australia, it was where they filmed it. Aside from the local crew, because that's a requirement when you film overseas, is to use local stuff. It's like they had the people on the show who knew what the hell they were supposed to be doing and how to do it, the same way as they did in the show, just with the bigger budget.
Hell, the costume designer didn't get the memo when they first made the masks. They didn't have the faceplates on them. And somebody like approached them and went, no, 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 they need the faceplates. I know
Right.
it seems like it'll be hard for them to breathe, but they need the faceplates.
Like, because I think, because I watched they have a documentary on Netflix for it, or at least I think it's Netflix. Um, but or no, it was on YouTube. I'll watch it. I'm sorry, but they went through like 4 or 5 different iterations of the mask before they just said, no, fuck it, they need to have the visors, because they tried like 4 or 5 different ways for it to be workable and easier, but it didn't work right without the visors.
Especially since this is a series working on secret identities.
Right. It's like, and even they even go so far as this shows to kind of install the whole secret identity thing without entirely enforcing the secret identity thing, because I don't think that ever gets mentioned at all during the show or during the movie.
I
It's
think the
just a
fact that
thing that they do.
I think that they're a fact that they're a tribe of humans that live hundreds of years is a secret. But the superpowers, like, for who cares?
Well, like, I didn't mean like the Ryusoulgers. I meant for the stupid ass movie.
Oh,
Like, I don't think it was ever instilled in the movie that it had to be secret identities, because literally the only time it ever became a thing was when he went to go get his dad. And that was just, I feel, because he was, they unnecessarily put that storyline in it, where daddy's upset with me, but I really love my dad.
my parents are great. I'm just a piece of shit.
Right, pretty much. And then it was just, that was about the only scene that the secret identity thing stayed in effect.
Like, you know what really drives that point home? Is after they suplex Goldar and then backhand Rita to the moon, the crowd gathers to cheer them on, and like they don't have the faceplates on when they're sitting inside the pods. So I think Billy and Zach on the legs are like, yeah, you're just kind of right there for anyone to see.
Right, like, and that's one of those things, like, they never truly explained how visible they were.
Like it might have been tinted glass, but just kind of glossed over that part. But yeah, Ryusoulger. Uh, uh, Gunjoji grows himself big and they do a mech fight against it. But then Piton sees Precious, gets scared and runs away. Seems Precious may have been the one to seal Piton away in the first place. Back during the war.
Which, that is a kind of a great kind of thing to point out. And even the way they did it, like, is one of the few things in this that I'm actually okay with how they did it. Is because one of the thoughts I had was, well, why hasn't this happened before? It's like, because Precious has always left the battlefield before the monster fight. It's like, and now Precious is just there. So, like, it fit better than, it could have gone. So it was like, I actually enjoyed watching Piton shit himself and basically go, fuck you, I'm out.
And we never get this kind of character for the mechs, even the ones with personalities, so this was nice to see.
Right, like usually the sentient mechs is just like, literally they're just there to hype up the Rangers or point out why they're friends.
But here, like, Piton is his own person. So Hellas mentioned. Oh, sorry if you can hear the people in the other room. Uh, so Precious mentioned Eris or Hellas, whatever. And so the Rio soldiers go back and wonder what that's about. When Baba says, uh, Master Black mentioned that name before. Why don't we tap into my memories and see if we can learn anything? So, Melto uses a Rio Soul to bring up some painful memories from Bomba's childhood when he was a knight in training. What do you think of those memories?
Give me 1 second. My mic screwed the hell up.
Oh, okay. So, Bomba just, goes through memories of, like, Master Black training him, teaching him things like, hey, don't overexert yourself, know your limits. Uh, then when he finally is like, hey, Bomba, you're ready to become the new Black, and I'm going to make Toa the new Green. To which Bomba is surprised, like, wait, Toa? Not Nada?
Like that was a good nod that I had forgotten that Nada said fuck it and tried to go to one of the other masters.
Right.
Um, but yeah, sorry about that. My my headset got unplugged. Um, the memory thing is like I liked it. But it did the whole open ended thing where it ended with a lot more questions than answers. Turns out people are assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, we jump cut to Master Black having turned on the Ryusoul tribe, uh, saying things like his regret to making Bomba the new Black and such, and that he needs to protect Hellas.
So yeah, we need answers for that.
We super need answers because Hellas has been in play for a while now, and we haven't seen or heard of Master Black since.
I mean, fuck, the real soldiers literally make it to where Hellas is at.
You'd think that if his mission was, whether it was to protect her in the sense that keep her safe, or protect her in the sense that keep her sealed, you'd think that as soon as Ryusoul Calibur was pulled, and
He'd have shown the fuck back
he'd
up.
have shown the fuck back up and went, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Right. For either version of it. And even more so is like if he was to quote unquote protect her Hellas from danger, he'd have shown the fuck up this episode before they came strolling into the cave.
And like Set, if you don't remember, the guy possessing his dad even comes in and is like, yeah, so the reason I told you to pull that sword was because Hellas was going to fucking eat it if you didn't.
Which, congratulations, you were right. Which that is I get the best explanation for it. Because why would you do something that ends up setting something else free or something worse than what we're dealing with free?
Right,
quite literally.
Hellas would have gotten all that power.
Yeah. It literally take the evil shit you're dealing with and then multiply it by cancer.
Like, okay, the prisoner is now drawing power from the energy field. Let's power that down and figure something else out.
Like, I mean, it's one of the better legit reasons for a power up that looks like shit. That, like I said, like it justifies freeing the villain. Everything about it, and then we get to have Set's explanation, and I love it whenever Set shows up. Mainly because he takes the time to put on the bandana. Even if we don't always see it, he takes the time to put on the bandana.
Uh,
Also, good. It's a good thing for Seth that Ui's dad's apparently narcoleptic.
I choose to believe that that is Set forcing himself out.
Oh
Because
yes, but I like it. Mine's funnier is why I like it.
uh,
Like I
'cause,
like the idea of like Ui's dad just randomly passing out and set going, "The fuck is going on?" It's not what I wanted to. This wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't trying to come out yet.
but I'm pretty sure that like he does force it out because that would explain like why he gets cut off in the middle of explaining something because that's
Right.
Zoe's dad waking back up.
I just like the idea of Ui's or
My,
Set showing up going, "I didn't have anything to tell you guys. Why the fuck am I here?"
oh yeah, I love the one where they
Damn it!
accidentally say his name. Inui's dad gets knocked out, and so wakes up like, "Did you call me?" And they're like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, okay," and he just goes back to sleep.
Like Ui's dad slash Set is like great for like that type of comedy and levity, even with giving like you know exposition, which is really all it was in this episode was exposition. Is like, but it's just done in a very fun way. Is like Austin the look on Austin's face when Ui's dad wakes back up. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? We were almost there. We almost got all the information you needed. And you woke up, you bastard.
She like scratches her head a bit and then just throws her arm down, like, ugh. Ugh. And then while the Ryu soldiers are training for what they believe will be the final showdown against the Druidons, uh, Oto comes in to try and convince Kanalo to not fight. After all, he's part of the Sea tribe that left because they didn't want to fight anymore. She also goes to, let Kana Melta know that she really cares about him too.
And kind of wants him to run away too.
It is if even if they're not dating right now, they're going to be later.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, and it's still kind of hard to watch from a responsible adult looking at it. It looks bad. And I know Toei has problems, but damn.
But yeah, Ko and Asuna get excited at the prospect of, hey, when we win, what are we gonna do next? Why don't we travel around the world and go to a lot of places?
And pretty much all Asuna wants to do is eat. To the point where Ko's like, yeah, I'll buy you a shit ton of candy.
So Pixie is comparing Precious to Frieza.
Which is not wrong, but also not kind of right, because at least Frieza was a badass. Until he wasn't. Precious has just been nothing but an asshole. But then again, we are about one dirty monkey phrase away from out of Precious's mouth. Oh, it would be dirty dinosaur in this case, though.
You darn dirty reptile.
Oh wait, you're a T-Rex. You are also part bird. Fucking stupid ass science shit.
No, I'm pretty sure
no, it was raptor. It was raptor.
In the Sentai universe, dinosaurs don't have feathers.
A couple of them in Kishiryu Ryusoulger did when they did their little time travel bullshit.
A couple is not all. So, moving into the big final battle, we open up with the Henshin and roll call. And what the fuck?
What a can of worms this opens.
This is so. First of all, this is the first time like they do the tribal thing that Kanalo joins them for. It's all of them. Second
Well,
off,
he joined him on the bridge a couple of episodes ago.
did he?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the second time.
Okay, but still, the they do the untransformed roll call, where they say their roll call and then they get into the suit. And it's like this is a final roll call kind of thing.
Like this is 100% last episode shit.
But we're supposed to have 5 more episodes.
Which means that last roll call had better be
Uh,
fucking amazing.
yeah, unless like we're getting a short break between this series and Kira Major, I think we're getting like a 5-part final battle instead of the normal 2-parter.
Which from I haven't heard anything about there being a break between the shows. Because what was it? It was before this one. There was a 4-week break.
When's golf week?
Which I'm not entirely sure. I will look that up while we do this.
Yes, Pixie, the roll call was amazing. That is usually what they do for the final roll call of the series, the last one before they defeat the big bad. And they did it like 5 episodes early and were confused. Lupin Ranger versus Power Ranger, they did their final roll calls early as well. Lupin Rangers got theirs in first. They did the suitless one, because it was an important moment for their characters. And then Power Ranger did theirs. They did the helmetless one for an important moment for them. So I can understand that. They had 2 different teams to work with. They didn't want to give them both the final roll call. So they broke it up and then did them both early because they were going to do something special for the final episode instead. Totally get it. In fact, the Power Rangers might have done theirs leading into the final battle against Dogranio anyways. I don't quite remember, but that might have been what happened. The Power Rangers got the final roll call.
Yeah, that's how that
Yeah,
one
okay.
played out.
So they just gave the Lupin Rangers theirs early because they couldn't do both of them and have it make sense, unless they
because
wanted.
of how that last set of fights took place.
Right. If they really wanted to, they could have, but it made more sense to do it early as part of, hey, we're doing the reveal anyways. This is a good time. Lupin Ranger versus Power Ranger, it makes sense for them to do theirs early. Here, it doesn't make sense unless they're like, okay, this is the final battle, which is gonna span the next like 5 episodes.
Like, and like it says, like if there are actually 5 episodes left, which most likely,
At least 4.
if they Sentai has a thing, but there's the trope with Sentai is like there's a roll call every episode.
So here's a theory. So at the end of this episode, Sudden kidnapped Oto to use as a hostage, and then we get to the next episode preview, and like, Asuna is, she's been taken as well, and like, is like imply that's like a tough situation. Like, oh, is Asuna gonna die? I'm wondering. I don't think that like the Asuna's gonna die. Well, I'm wondering if they're gonna be like getting knocked off one by one. Uh, and like if they do continue doing roll calls, it'll be with less people each time, leading up to the final battle.
Like that would make sense, but I don't want it to come down to basically a one-on-one fight.
Right.
I still want what me and you talked about earlier. Like 100%. I want the final roll call to basically just be like the normal one, and then the last split second, Creon jumps out.
The Knight in Training, Ryusoulger Creon.
Like 100%, that is what the fuck I want. If I get
I,
anything other than that, I will be disappointed.
yeah, I'm sorry
Unfortunately,
to say I created a future in which we are disappointed that that doesn't happen.
because the odds of that actually happening are, slim to none. It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but odds are a he's most likely going to be like the mascot
But
because that's usually what happens.
if he did do that, then the only correct way to proceed is for everyone else to look at him be like, "What are you doing here?" Except for Ko, who is like, "All right, let's go."
Right. And it wouldn't even be that hard to give him a suit and explain it away because, it's not the first time somebody with a funny shaped head had a normal looking fucking suit, a la Deca Master and, Kyoryu's your giant fucking eagle man. Like, they all had normal helmets and a weird shaped fucking head that should not have fit in the helmet. Yeah, Torin, that was his name.
And did you say Doggy Kruger as well?
Oh, well, Deca Master.
Yeah.
Either version of him, Leatherface or Plushy.
Uh, uh,
Then again, there was also that, that giant beam of the giant ray of light that was a fucking ranger too.
um, are you talking about
The Decker Ranger,
Yeah,
the one who literally
No.
only truly existed as a ranger.
Omega Ranger?
I think it was Omega.
Yeah. It's because he time traveled from the future, but his body couldn't handle the time traveling, so he had to turn to a ball of light to save himself. So the only time he could take a physical form was in the safety of his ranger suit. And I have no idea how that guy went to the bathroom.
I mean, you're a beam of light. You don't have to.
I guess.
I mean, either that or he found a prism. Okay, that was a dumb joke. I admit it. I mean, it's the only way he's getting the yellow stream of light out.
Okay, so next episode we are actually going to see Master Black. Bulma's going to confront him, and we're going to find out. Well, I hope we're going to find out anything.
Literally anything. Because, god damn it.
So, you know what? This series has been underwhelming in certain aspects, but the biggest offender would, in fact, be its own plot.
Right. Like, the plot for the good guys, fine, good, well executed, if not a little bit by the numbers. With the villains, it's literally just been the entire fucking time.
Like, Loop Ranger versus Power Ranger, the plot stayed the same start to finish. The difference is that we knew what the story was, and we were compensated with really good character stories and development and growth.
Like, Lupin Ranger did it best for having a villain who was gonna do fuck all the entire show.
Yeah, they open with that, like, I'm the big bad guy, prepare to watch me do nothing.
Until he finally goes, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself.
If you want something done right.
Like, it was just Lupin Ranger did that the best. Because we've had series where, like, literally the big bad just sat around and did nothing.
Shinkenger.
And to be fair, that's most series. Like, even Bandora really didn't do much except for come up with plans.
It's because she didn't know how to be evil.
Oh, this is true. But, like, most of the big bads, it's just, I'm going to sit in a chair and order my grunts around. That's most of them. To be fair. Or it's, we need to resurrect the big bad. And he's telepathically giving us orders because, ooh. And selecting emotions and every other dumb shit. It's like this one, he's fuck it, I'm out. Have fun. Whoever does the best can take my job. The one thing with this episode that I was truly disappointed to see was Kreon.
I wasn't gonna mention that.
I have to.
Gunjoji was using Kreon as target practice, to which Frisha says, "Oh look, Gunjoji found himself a toy."
Like, it to the point where Precious isn't even pretending anymore to give a fuck about Kreon.
Yeah, no, it's super disappointing.
And like I says, like it solidifies Kreon switching teams, and again, I'm fine with that. It's just if Wiseru's not dead and was basically relying on Kreon to jump ship on his own, made sure he was closer to doing it first.
I think when we started this series, we looked at Kreon and went, "He's going to switch teams." I think what I said was, I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't want another Lucky Roo. But
Right,
here's
and
the
that's
thing:
literally what it was.
we are not getting another Lucky Roo because Kreon is a better character than Lucky Roo.
Yes, 100%.
Lucky
Like,
Roo was Lucky Roo was a good character. Let me say preface this with that. But Lucky Roo was just a child who the adults had to bring him to work with them because they couldn't leave him alone.
I mean, you're not wrong, and because he was the only one who had that water.
Yeah, that they just gave him. Anyone could have poured the water. They gave it to him so that he could participate. Like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, straight up. When they make one of the new generals, the monkey guy, he takes the water bucket himself and just pours it on himself.
Yeah, this is true. Like Lucky Roo, Lucky Roo was treated as like any parent who likes to video game but has a kid who wants to play too and has no idea what they do, so they give him an unplugged controller.
Like,
so they feel useful.
And so, like, I could tell from the beginning, like, oh, Lucky was gonna switch sides. What about Candelier? And I was surprised to see that both of them got to switch, but it was just sprung at the last minute, like during the final battle, where it's like when they realize, like, hey, this isn't what we want. We shouldn't be doing this. Kreon has been building up to this the entire series. Like he has gone through multiple basically big brothers that have all treated him differently. He's gone through multiple like phases of how much he enjoys what he's doing, and he has the most justifiable reason at this point for saying, "I quit because I'm not having fun anymore."
And you fuckers won't stop shooting me.
Like
Precious
Wiseru,
did Gadgelays basically beat the shit out of him and forced him to do overwork himself. Wiseru just took credit for everything that Kreon did, and Tankjo was just kind of a burly asshole.
and like it already started being less fun, notably when Precious first showed up and started giving Wiseru and Gadgelays hell. Like, it's just, you can tell there's a difference in how much Kreon and Wiseru are enjoying it. And now that
Right.
Wiseru is gone, Kreon has no fucking reason to hang around anymore. He doesn't like Precious, and he's not having fun anymore. What does he even get out of them succeeding? Nothing, because Precious is going to take it all for himself. He no longer has any motivation to be a villain.
Like we had talked about it like through the start of the series, is like how much we didn't want to compare this to Kishiryu Ryusoulger and how difficult it is to do that.
Yeah, it's been super difficult. We just keep doing it.
Because fundamentally, it's the same fucking show. It is very much by the books, just an altered version of Kishiryu Ryusoulger. With, in some cases, much better characters. It's like, but this is one of those things like where they took something that was in Kishiryu Ryusoulger and literally put the time and effort to actually make it worth the damn and make us care. And I love that.
Ooh. So, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider 01, and we're hoping Thursday for the Ryusoulger movie. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all for joining, and feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.